Welcome back to Chat English, where we survive daily life together. I am not eating that. It looks like trees. The dinner battle. You cook a healthy meal, and your child looks at you like you poisoned them. You feel defeated before you even start.
I know that feeling very well. I remember my nephew threw a cooked carrot at me once because I asked him to try just one bite. It is a very high-pressure negotiation, like a business meeting, but with ketchup.
Exactly. So today, we are giving you the dinner table script, the exact phrases to get them to eat without shouting.
I need this script, Jessica. Dinner time at my house is often the most stressful part of the day.
It is for many people. It starts around 6:30 p.m. Everyone is tired, everyone is hungry, and that is a dangerous combination.
Yes, we call it hangry. Hungry plus angry.
That is a great word, hangry, when your mood is bad because you need food. So you put the plate down. What happens next, Dave?
Usually, my daughter looks at the food. She inspects it very closely, and if she sees anything green, she says, "Ew, yuck."
The yuck reaction. That is hard to hear after you spent time cooking.
It is. I usually say, "Don't say yuck. It is delicious. Just eat it."
And does that work?
Never. She just crosses her arms and refuses to open her mouth.
That is because it is delicious is your opinion, not a fact. To her, it might look scary. We need to change the vocabulary we use. We need a sensory shift.
A sensory shift? What does that mean?
It means describing the food using facts, not opinions. Instead of saying it is good, use words about texture and sound.
Texture is how the food feels in your mouth, right?
Exactly. Kids are very sensitive to texture. So instead of eat your carrots, they are yummy, try describing the crunch.
So I could say, listen to how loud this carrot is when I bite it.
Yes, that makes it an experiment, not a command. You can say, is it crunchy or is it soft?
That is clever. It makes them curious.
Curious is better than fearful. What other words can we use besides crunchy?
Maybe juicy for fruit or smooth for mashed potatoes.
Perfect. Juicy, smooth, crunchy, crispy. These are sensory words. They are neutral. They don't tell the child how to feel.
I like that. I sometimes tell my son that broccoli is dinosaur trees. Is that a sensory word?
That is a playful word, which is also great. You are reframing the food. You are changing the story. If he is a dinosaur, he has to eat the trees.
He loves dinosaurs. He usually eats at least one tree when I say that.
That is a win. But what happens when they truly refuse, when they push the plate away?
That is the moment I feel the panic rising. I worry they will go to bed hungry, so I start pleading. I say, please just eat, please for daddy.
Pleading rarely works with small dictators.
Small dictators, that is a very accurate description of a toddler.
When pleading fails, parents often switch to threats. If you don't eat, no TV.
I have said that many times. No TV until this plate is clean.
That is a negative negotiation. It focuses on punishment. Today, we are going to learn a grammar structure that is much more powerful. It is called the first conditional.
The first conditional. That sounds like a grammar lesson from school.
It is, but it is the secret weapon of parenting. The structure is, if you do X, then you get Y.
Ah, the deal-making grammar.
Exactly. But we want to frame it positively. Instead of, if you don't eat, no TV, flip it.
So, if you eat your peas, then you can watch TV.
Yes. If plus the condition, then plus the reward. It puts the control in their hands. They can choose the reward by doing the action.
It sounds so simple, but in the moment, I usually focus on the negative. I focus on what they will lose.
That is natural, but the positive first conditional creates a clear path to success. Let's practice this. I will play the stubborn child. You try to negotiate with me.
Okay, I am ready.
I don't want this chicken. It looks weird.
If you eat 3 pieces of chicken, then you can have a sticker.
A sticker? Okay, I might eat 3 pieces.
That's all better than saying no sticker unless you eat.
Much better. You set a specific small goal, 3 pieces. That is manageable.
That is a key point. Sometimes I put a huge pile of food on their plate.
And that can be overwhelming. We call that the portion size. A portion is the amount of food you serve.
My portion sizes are definitely too big. I have eyes bigger than my stomach.
That is a fantastic idiom. Eyes bigger than your stomach. It means you want more food than you can actually eat.
I do that for myself and I do it for my kids, so small portions are better.
Yes, it is psychologically easier to eat 3 peas than a mountain of peas.
What if they refuse the deal? What if I say, if you eat the chicken, you get a sticker, and they say no?
Then you have to stay calm. You have to be a broken record.
A broken record? Like an old music player that repeats the same part of a song?
Exactly. You repeat the deal calmly. You don't change it, you don't get angry. You just say, that is the deal. If you eat the chicken, then you get the sticker.
And if they still say no?
Then the answer is, okay, no sticker tonight. You have to follow through.
That is the hardest part, following through. Sometimes I just want them to be happy, so I give them the sticker anyway.
We all do that sometimes. But for the dinner table script to work, the if-then connection must be real.
I understand. Consistency is key.
There is another trick you can use before the if-then deal. It is called the choice illusion.
The choice illusion. That sounds like magic.
It is a little bit of magic. Toddlers and young children crave control. They want to be the boss.
Oh, I know that. My daughter tells me where to sit, what to wear, and which spoon to use.
So let her choose, but you give her 2 choices that you are happy with.
Can you give me an example?
Instead of saying, eat your broccoli, you say, do you want the big piece of broccoli or the small piece?
I see. Both options mean she eats broccoli.
Exactly. But she feels like she made a decision. She thinks, I chose the small piece. I won.
But really, I won because she is eating.
We both won. That is a successful negotiation. You can also use this with tools. Do you want the red fork or the blue fork?
Or do you want to dip it in ketchup or ranch sauce?
Yes, dipping is a great strategy. Kids love to dip things. It makes eating an activity.
My son will eat almost anything if he can dip it in ketchup, even carrots. It is gross, but he eats it.
Gross means disgusting. And yes, it might look gross to us, but if it gets the vitamins into his stomach, it is a victory.
So we have the sensory shift, the first conditional, and the choice illusion. These are great tools.
There is one more important concept, the no thank you bite.
I have heard of this. Is this a rule?
It is a family rule. It means you don't have to finish everything, but you must try 1 bite.
Just 1 bite?
Just 1. We call it the no thank you bite. You take a bite, and if you don't like it, you can say no thank you.
That seems fair. It takes the pressure off. They know they don't have to eat the whole plate.
Exactly. It reduces the anxiety. Often, once they try that 1 bite, they realize it is actually okay.
Or they realize it is crunchy and fun.
Yes, but if they take the bite and still hate it, you have to respect that. You say, okay, thank you for trying.
Thank you for trying. That is a nice phrase. It praises the effort, not the eating.
Praise is very important. We want to associate dinner with positive feelings, not fighting.
So we shouldn't say, finally, you ate something.
No, that sounds sarcastic. Sarcasm is when you say the opposite of what you mean, usually to be funny or mean. Kids don't always understand sarcasm.
So what should I say instead?
Good job trying something new. Or, I love how you crunched that carrot. Be specific.
Specific praise. Got it.
Now, Dave, I want to practice the if-then structure again, because it is the most useful grammar for this situation. But sometimes we use when instead of if.
What is the difference?
If implies a choice. They might not do it. When implies confidence. You know they will do it eventually.
So, when you finish your pasta, we can read a story.
Yes, it sounds calmer. It assumes cooperation. When you put your plate in the sink, we can play a game.
That is very subtle, but I can hear the difference. If sounds like a bargain, when sounds like a routine.
Exactly. Use if for difficult negotiations. Use when for daily habits.
I am going to try using when tonight. When you brush your teeth, we can read the dinosaur book.
Perfect. Now, I have a question for you, Dave. What is the one food that you absolutely refused to eat as a child?
Oh, that is easy. Brussels sprouts. To me, they tasted like dirty socks.
Dirty socks. That is a very strong sensory description. Did your parents make you eat them?
They tried, but I was very stubborn. I sat at the table for 2 hours once.
2 hours? That is a battle of wills.
It was. Now, as an adult, I actually like them, if they are roasted with bacon.
Taste change. That's important to remember. Our kids might hate mushrooms today, but love them next week.
We just have to keep offering them.
Yes, exposure is the key word. Exposure means being around something. The more they see the food, the less scary it becomes.
So don't stop buying broccoli just because they said yuck one time.
Exactly. Keep putting a little bit on the plate. No pressure, just exposure.
Jessica, before we finish, I have a question about dessert. Is it okay to use dessert as a bribe?
Bribe is a strong word. A bribe is giving something valuable to get someone to do something, often something dishonest. But in parenting, we call it a reward.
So is the dessert reward okay?
It is a tool, but be careful. If we always say, eat your broccoli so you can have cake, we are teaching them that broccoli is bad and cake is good.
That is true. We are making the broccoli the punishment and the cake the prize.
Right. So try to keep the language neutral. We eat our main meal first to give our bodies fuel. Then we have dessert for fun.
Fuel and fun. I like that balance.
And sometimes the reward doesn't have to be food. It can be an activity.
Like the story time we mentioned, or playing with Legos.
Exactly. When we finish dinner, we can build a Lego tower. That is a great incentive.
Incentive. That means something that encourages you to do something.
Yes. Legos are a very strong incentive in my house.
In mine too. Although stepping on a Lego piece is the most painful thing in the world.
It really is. That is a different kind of sensory experience.
A very bad one.
So, let's review our dinner table script vocabulary. We started with the sensory shift.
Using words like crunchy, smooth, and juicy instead of just good or yuck.
Then we talked about the no thank you bite.
The rule that you must try one bite before refusing.
We learned the choice illusion.
Giving two options that are both acceptable. Red plate or blue plate.
And the most important grammar point, the first conditional.
If you eat your carrots, then you can have a sticker.
Or the confident version using when.
When you finish your dinner, we can play.
These are phrases you can use every single day. They are not just for dinner. You can use them for cleaning up, for getting dressed, for homework.
If you put on your shoes, then we can go to the park.
Exactly. It works for everything.
I feel much more prepared for tonight's dinner now. I have my script.
And remember, if it goes wrong, if they scream and throw the peas on the floor,
Which might happen.
you take a deep breath, you stay calm, and you try again tomorrow. You are doing a good job.
Thank you, Jessica. I needed to hear that. Parenting is hard work.
It is the hardest work, but also the most rewarding.
Speaking of rewarding, do you have a different routine for weekends? Does the dinner table script change on Saturday night?
A little bit. On Friday nights, we usually have a pizza night.
Ah, pizza night. The night of no arguments.
Usually, but we still make a salad. And the rule is salad first, then pizza.
That is a classic if-then deal. If you eat the salad, then pizza.
Exactly. But the atmosphere is more relaxed. We might eat in the living room. We might watch a movie.
That sounds lovely. A break from the strict routine is good for everyone.
Balance is key. We follow the rules during the week so we can relax on the weekend.
I think I will introduce pizza night this week. My kids will be very happy.
And you will be happy because there's no cooking and less cleaning.
That is the best part.
Well, we have covered a lot of strategies today.
We have. I hope our listeners are ready to try them.
We want to hear from you. We have a challenge for you to practice your new grammar.
Yes, tell us in the comments. What is the one food your family refuses to eat?
Is it broccoli? Is it fish? Is it mushrooms?
And then write your if-then sentence.
For example, if you eat the spinach, then we can go to the park.
Or, if you try the fish, then you can have an apple.
Writing your routine is excellent practice. It helps you remember the grammar when you're in the stressful moment.
And if you don't have kids, you can still practice. You can negotiate with yourself.
That is true. If I finish my work, then I can watch Netflix.
I use that one every day.
So please leave a comment. We love reading your stories.
And if you enjoyed this chat and you want more scripts for daily life, please subscribe to Chat English.
Click the bell icon so you never miss a lesson, and share this podcast with your friends who are parents.
Help them survive the dinner battle too.
Thank you so much for listening today. Good luck with your negotiations.
Yes, stay strong, and bon appetit.
Have a wonderful, peaceful meal. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. See you next time.